Hi, welcome to week 5 of the Grit Gym Nutrition course. So let's get started today about talking about loopholes. So loopholes are excuses we use to justify breaking a good habit. We all use them. But if you train yourself to spot them and identify the ones that are most commonly used by yourself, you can kind of break the cycle and not let yourself off the hook for them. These are just a few common ones that I see a lot in nutrition groups, but in this week's supplemental materials, you'll see a card that has a link to a Gretchen Rubin video. She writes about loopholes in her book Better Than Before, and she does a short video kind of going over them. And then there's also a cheat sheet that lists all of them out in your Trello board. But we'll talk more about them. But I just kind of wanted to touch base on a few of them to give you like an overview of what to expect. And then we'll kind of dig deep because I want to hear what everybody's most commonly used loopholes are. So these are just a couple that I come across, in these nutrition groups quite often. The moral licensing loophole is giving yourself permission to do something bad since you did something good. So I went to the gym today so I can eat a cupcake. I cleaned my house, so now I get to watch The Real Housewives. Whatever. You excuse your behavior because you did something good. The next one is called the one coin loophole, where one action is meaningless. It's called the one coin loophole because if you give a man one coin, that doesn't make him rich. But if you give a man a coin every single day, at some point he becomes rich, right? So we get lost in the idea that one action doesn't matter, but these little actions are actually what make up our entire lives. So they very much do matter. But the concept, one cupcake won't kill me. So one cupcake wouldn't kill you, but one cupcake every day or every hour would kill you. So, it's finding the line. Let's see, the false choice loophole. Putting two things in opposition that really aren't. We see this a lot. I can't go to the gym today because I need to clean my house. I can't eat healthy today because my kid has soccer practice. I can't make my food because I had to work late. There's these either ors, when really, if we tried, we can usually find a way to make both happen. Maybe it isn't according to plan, maybe it's not ideal, but they're not always in opposition of each other. We treat things like they're in opposition of each other when they actually can coexist together. So we'll talk about that more. Look over the stuff in the supplemental materials and we'll talk about what ones you identify with. All right, so we've touched on the fats a little bit. I kind of want to dig into protein for a few minutes. I don't think that knowing the nitty-gritty of all the macronutrients is super, super important, but I do think that having like a base level understanding of why, the carbohydrates and proteins and fats and everything are important. So we'll touch on protein, and then next week I'll touch on carbohydrates real quick. So protein. So during digestion, the body breaks down protein into amino acids. There's 3 types of amino acids. There's non-essential, conditionally essential, and essential. So non-essential are ones that our bodies make ourselves. So we do not need to eat non-essential amino acids. Conditionally essential amino acids our bodies do make, but they're not really great at it. Like in a pinch it can make it, but if you're stressed or sick or overworked or under-recovered, your body's gonna have a hard time making these and you could become deficient in them, but we do have the capability of doing it. Essential amino acids are ones that we absolutely have to eat. Our bodies do not make these and we have to get them from our food. So the way protein works is it makes a bank of amino acids in your bloodstream that's available for your body to use when it needs it. So you want to get enough protein because it replaces worn out cells, it aids in muscle growth and repair, it liberates free fatty acids from adipose tissue, and improves immune function. So these are all super duper important things. It's interesting because you can live on very little protein. It's kind of, this is an interesting topic when it comes to being a vegan. You can be a healthy vegan, but it's really hard. You have to really manage your proteins to make sure that you're getting the variety you need in those amino acids. But yeah, you can thrive on very little protein, but to thrive, you need a considerable amount. There is a limit to how much you can store, but there has been a lot of fear out there about high protein diets and how terrible they are for you and they're bad for your kidneys. And the research says that in a healthy person, really there's no danger in overeating protein at all. But there is a limit on how much you can store. So like you can't eat all your protein for the week on Monday and call it good. You do need to eat it every day. So the more active you are, the more protein you need. So for a very sedentary person, 0.4 grams per pound of body weight would be where they would want to be. And athletes and bodybuilders would go up to 1 gram per pound of body weight. So depending on your activity level, you're going to be somewhere in between that. Like I said, there's not a huge concern with overeating protein for most people. So, I mean, generally speaking, the basic template for this is always going to be to eat more protein, better carbohydrate choices, and enough fat to feel satiated. Managing your macros isn't the end-all be-all. Like I've said over and over again, it's really more important that you eat better than anything else. That's going to take care of a lot of your problems, but it is a good idea to check in and make sure that you're getting enough protein. Okay, we're going to move into lifestyle stuff for the next couple slides. We'll start out with sleep. So it's really funny. We have clients that will work out every single day, change everything they eat, track every little micronutrient, track every macronutrient, meet with me once a week, meet with Adam 5 times a week to work out. But believe it or not, the thing they really struggle to do is just to get at least 7 hours of sleep a night. It seems like a no-brainer compared to everything else they're doing, but sleep is a real struggle for a lot of people. But not getting enough sleep is very detrimental to your health. It kind of is almost like hydration. These are like those that we talked about the first week. These are baseline functions that if you don't get them in line, you're going to have a really hard time getting the results you want. So lack of sleep is associated with a decrease in growth hormone, which is what builds your muscles, insufficient thyroid stimulating hormone, increased cortisol, slowed insulin response, and elevated sympathetic nervous system activity. Now, these are all things that contribute to obesity. Not getting enough sleep will cause major health problems. It is important. I know that we all have other things that we'd rather do, right, than sleep. You know, we want to be more productive. We want time to unwind, but one of the best things you can do for yourself is to make sure you're getting at least 7 hours of sleep, if not 8, every night. So some tips on how to get more sleep. Be consistent. So keep a relatively consistent bedtime and wake time, and that includes weekends. I know that it's nice to stay up late and then sleep in on the weekends, but the more consistent you are with your sleep times, the better quality your sleep's going to be. Light. Keep the bedroom extremely dark. It'll help signal your body and circadian rhythms to go into that deep sleep. Noise. So keeping the bedroom really quiet or use a white noise generator. I sleep with a fan on in my room every night, and so does my daughter actually. But some people sleep with quiet. But sleeping with the TV on, for instance, or sleeping with the radio on, that can impede good sleep quality. Relaxation and routine. Develop a pre-bedtime routine, especially if it becomes familiar. In my house, we might use lavender oil before bed for relaxation. A lot of times I read a book for 10 minutes before I go to bed. But the key here is really to step away from the screens. In a perfect world, I know Adam does this, I also do it. They make blue light blocking glasses, and once it gets dark out, wearing blue light blocking glasses, if you have to look at a screen, can help some people's body do a better job of winding down and not getting that overstimulated blue light in their eyes. So that's an idea for you. But generally speaking, the less you look at screens, the better, especially around bedtime. Temperature, you want to keep it cooler at night while you're sleeping. Stimulants, eliminate stimulants later in the day. So we're talking things like caffeine. Don't drink caffeine later on in the day. Exercise. So obviously there's a billion benefits to exercise, but it also benefits sleep and fullness. Eating a dinner that makes you feel overly full can disturb sleep. So some people have a really hard time with digestion. If they eat really late and they eat a lot, it can interrupt their sleep. I actually don't happen to be one of those people. I'm a big fan of eating decently late, but just be aware if you are one of those people to not have this giant belly of food you need to digest before you go to sleep. All right, next lifestyle factor is movement. So there are two important things you need to incorporate into your life when it comes to movement. One is purposeful exercise. We're talking well-programmed, goal-oriented workouts. This is your strength training. These are for those of you who are clients at Grit Gym. These are your workouts at Grit Gym. If you're not at Grit Gym, we're talking like purposeful lifting weights, strength training, scheduled, goal-oriented, reasonable intensity exercise. So that paired with a basic low-intensity movements throughout the day. You need both. So you can't sit at a desk all day and then go to the gym for an hour and expect it to undo all the damage that sitting at a desk all day is doing. And you can't walk to work each day, take a leisurely stroll with your dog in the evening, and then expect it to replace the gym. Both of those are good. You should walk as much as you can, and you should move as much as you can, and you should go to the gym, but one can't replace the other. They're two different things, and you need them both. We're made to move. So you get caught in this catch-22, where the more out of shape you are, the harder it is to move, and the less motivated you are to move. But really, movement is going to improve so many aspects of your life. You will be healthier for the movement you do. So what can you do about it? So pursue goal-oriented workouts. If you're not a member of Grit Gym, you can look at joining. If you don't have any desire to be a member of Grit Gym, find some sort of purposeful workout routine that you enjoy and do it. Try not to stay in the same position all day, mix it up. So you'll see me and Adam, if we're sitting, sometimes it's a chair, sometimes we'll kneel at our desk, sometimes we sit on a stability ball, sometimes, I'll be standing. Some people have treadmill desks, but just sitting on your tailbone in a desk all day is not great for you. So try and mix it up. Find ways to incorporate movement throughout your day. Find a reason to get up and walk. So I always tell people you don't have to be really obnoxious at work and stand up from your desk and be like, hello everybody, I am walking now. You don't have to do that, but there's reasons to get up. If you're going to send an email to somebody who's on the other side of the building, maybe just get up and go talk to them. Or, schedule your bathroom breaks, your water breaks. your lunch breaks, find a reason to get up and move. It doesn't need to be this big to do, but just the more you're moving positions and the less you're sitting, the better. And you know, of course, there's going to be times you can't, right? I mean, I get stuck in front of my computer sometimes and I have a really, really hard time breaking out of it. But it's something to be cognizant of, and it's something to aim for. So when you can, get up and move. You know, I have an Apple Watch that tells me every hour if I haven't moved to stand up. And when it goes off, I don't always like stop what I'm doing right away, but it reminds me, hey, when you get a second, you need to get up and move. Recovery. So working out in the gym is simply a stimulus for change. The time in between our workouts is when results happen. So you might have heard Adam say this in some of our other videos, but nobody overtrains. There's no such thing as overtraining. There's just under recovering. So recovery is incredibly important. Outside of the gym, our activities fall into two categories: sympathetic activities and parasympathetic activities. So sympathetic activities are things that increase adrenaline and cortisol in the body, that fight or flight. So those sympathetic activities are going to be, you know, our work is going to be a sympathetic activity. Anything that's like not necessarily stressful, but is a stressor on the body. And I don't mean that in like a negative way. I just mean that it's taxing on our body. You know, you can use the analogy of a car. If your body's a car, sympathetic activities are going to be things that drain the gas, where parasympathetic activities are going to be the things that refill the gas. So you need to prioritize at least 30 minutes a day of parasympathetic activity. And parasympathetic activity is going to be the more relaxing times. Like meditation is a parasympathetic activity. You know, relaxing, taking it easy. You can foam rolling. The things that the time for yourself too. Reading. These quiet, relaxing, taking it easy, self-care things are going to be parasympathetic activities. And it is incredibly important to get that. Just like this is another one of those things, right? You don't have time for. Oh, I'm already going to the gym. I'm already trying to move throughout my day. I'm already doing this. I'm already trying to eat well. This 30 minutes is a non-negotiable for your health. Like you have to find 30 minutes in your day to handle your recovery, because your gains in the gym, you're not going to see them unless you recover properly. So motivation is what gets you started. Habits are what keep you going. You can't rely on motivation forever. You can get started because of motivation. There's usually a catalyst that gets you motivated. But let me tell you, you're going to lose motivation. So when motivation's gone, discipline and habits are what's going to take over. And I know that's not sexy. It's not sexy at all. I have a very hard time selling that concept to people, but it's true. So keep in mind as you go through this course and as we're finishing up next week, these are about building new habits. And in the long run, it's going to serve you well if you have them. It won't always be so hard, and you won't always have to think about it every step of the way. Oh, and we're to homework already. All right, guys, so let's talk about your homework. We're going to keep building on each other. So continue journaling, continue to drink your water, continue to eat a serving of veggies with every meal, continue using your portion guidelines, continue to use your better oils and better sweeteners, continue making a meal plan for the upcoming weeks, continue to plan your exceptions, continue to look at your plate and ask yourself if it's nourishing your body, and then on top of it, we're going to add 2 more. So make sure you're eating enough protein, check in with yourself and see how it is. And then number 10, begin addressing the lifestyle factors that are hindering your success. And that's something that we're going to touch on when we talk. I think that this is a big roadblock for a lot of people, and I'm very, very curious to hear how lifestyle factors are affecting everybody. So I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching.